Hello everyone, welcome back to Shulinanubha Academy. Today we are going to discuss static keyword. So guys, static keyword is a very powerful modifier that is used to indicate that a particular member, be it a variable, method, block, or even a class itself, belongs to a class rather than the instance of its class. Okay, so it is used to define the members that can be accessed without creating the objects of your classes. Okay, so first of all we will be starting with your static variables. So static variable is a variable which is going to be shared among all the instances of the classes. That means there will be only one copy of that variable in the memory, and that copy is going to be created, guys, in the class memory or the method area, which is again an area or the space in heap where you are actually storing the class related data like the metadata of the classes as well as the static variables, which are going to be shared among all the instances of those classes. Okay, so static variables are being associated with the classes and not with the individual objects, and it is being shared. The same copy of those variables are going to be shared among all those objects of the class. So guys, I'll explain you this with the help of an example. So guys, this is an example of your static variable. Okay, for example, initially I have created this class static example and I have created a data member into it, the count. Okay, and the initial value I have set it as 0. Okay, I have created a constructor where I am incrementing this counter and ultimately a display function which is just displaying this count value. Okay, in this main, what is happening, I am creating a new object. Okay, so whenever we are creating the object, the memory is going to be allocated as soon as the constructor is going to be invoked. Okay, so what will happen, the constructor will be invoked and the counter value will be incremented. So initially it was 0, it will be incremented to 1. Okay, so now guys, in second case, that means I have created one more object here. Okay, so now what will happen, again the constructor is going to be invoked, but now guys this counter value will be set initially to 0 once again, because all the instances will be having their own copies of the count variable. Okay, so in case if you are going to have this se2.disp, again the counter value will be showing 1 since it was initialized to 0 and later on it will be incremented to 1 once again. Okay, so if I'll run this code, you will be seeing that the output is 1 and 1 in both the cases. Okay, but now guys, let's say this counter I am making it as the static one, which is going to have the common copy between all the instances of the same class. Okay, so any instances having, if is like changing or having the updations in the value of the counter, is going to be reflected, okay, for the other instance as well. So that means now if I'm going to create the object of the static example class, okay, so what will happen, your constructor is going to be called and it will increment the value of this counter to 1. Okay, so in case if I am going to call the display method, so you will be getting the value as 1. Now if I'm creating another object se2, okay, so this time the counter value will not be like initialized to 0 once again. The counter is common for both the objects, and now when the constructor is going to be called, the counter value will be incremented to 2. Okay, so you will be having the value 2 for both the objects now. That means SC for SC1, the value of the counter is 2, and for SC2 also the value of the counter is 2 only. So if I'll run this code, okay, you can see the value was 1 initially and later on it was 2. So if I'm going to, like rather than here, if I'm going to paste this statement here, okay, you can see that for both the objects the value is going to be 2 only. Okay, so what we are doing, guys, we are creating a common copy of those counter variables. So these are basically being used when we want to count the number of instances of your class, okay, or to have those static or to have those counters, okay, to see like how many times the updations are being done by the objects in your class. Now guys, let's discuss about the static methods. So static methods are again belong to the class and can be called without even creating the instance of the class. That is why the mains, we are actually declaring it with public static void. Okay, so why the static is coming? Because we want the method to be invoked without even creating the object of the class. As soon as the class is loading, I want the method to be invoked. Okay, so that is why we are making that as the static. So guys, static methods can only directly access the other static members. Okay, they cannot access the instance variables or the methods directly. In case if you want to access the instance members using your static method, so for that you would be requiring the objects, or with the help of the instances you can do it. So guys, several methods are already being created inbuilt in Java, okay, which are the helper functions like your mat.power function, okay, mat.sqrt function. These are the static methods where you don't need to create the objects, you are just calling them with the help of the name of your class math. Okay, so guys, I'll explain this also with the help of an example. Okay everyone, so in this example what I have done, I have created a class calculator which is outside the static example class, which is actually having the main. Okay, in this calculator class what I have done, I have created a static method, okay, and it is returning the sum of the two numbers. Now I want to access this method inside the main. Since main is also a static method, so what we are doing, we are just calling the add method by the name of the class calculator instead of creating the object of that class. I am giving the two values as a parameter and the result I am getting in this result, and that result I am printing. Okay, although guys, one method I have created, okay, as the instance method or the non-static method inside the same class where you are having the main. Okay, since main is a static method, it cannot access the non-static members directly, okay, even if it is in the same class. Okay, so what we are requiring, we need to create an object of this class first, and with the help of the object I can access the print method. Okay, I cannot directly access the print method or any of the instance member, okay, without creating the objects. So static methods can only access the static members. Okay, so if I'll run this code, you can see the output. The output is sum is being printed as well as hello is printed, which was there. Sum is being calculated from this static method add, okay, and this hello is being printed from this print method, which is the non-static method inside the static example2 class. Okay everyone, now we will be discussing about the static blocks. Okay, static blocks are used to initialize the static variables or to execute the code that needs to be run once, okay, when the class is loaded into the memory. So guys, basically it is being executed before even the main method, okay, or any other static method. So always the order of those static blocks are the first one as soon as the class is going to be loaded. Okay, we can create the nested classes, the class within a class as the static also, okay, so that we are making it independent, okay, of the enclosing class object. So we won't be requiring the outer class object to actually instantiate your static nested class, but the nested classes we will be discussing them in more details later on. But for the time being, I'm telling you about the static blocks. Okay everyone, so as I have told you guys, the static blocks are the things which are going to be executed first as soon as the class is loading, even before your main methods. So in this code, according to you, what will be the order of execution of the various blocks? So guys, first of all the static blocks are going to be executed. Okay, so your output will be block 1 sequentially. Okay, then I'm having one more static block, that is block 2, that is also going to be executed. Okay, and after that your main is going to be executed. So it will be printing main, and finally your static methods are going to be executed, but they will be executed only if they are being called from the main methods or from other methods only. Okay, so here if I'm calling the method, okay, the static method, so then it is okay, your static method is going to be invoked. But if you are not going to call the method, then it is not necessary that your static methods are going to be invoked. Okay, so we can see that your static blocks in the sequential manner will be executed, all the static blocks, then your main is going to be executed, and then the method and the other members are going to be executed upon calling, of course. Okay, so guys, since we are having the static blocks, okay, and they are being executed before main, so can we write the code inside the static blocks, or can we write some functions inside the static blocks without creating the main? Is it possible? The answer is no everyone. Okay, so in case if you are trying to write any code inside the static block without using the main method, then you will be getting the error that main method not found in the class. Okay, so of course the main method is required, but yes, the execution order always starts from the static blocks. Hopefully you like this video and static keyword is clear to you. So guys, please like, share and subscribe for more related videos like this. Thank you.